Hello and welcome back to DevPulse, where we break down the latest stories shaping the gaming industry. Today we've got a big one. Rockstar's latest layoff and controversy are causing shockwaves. GTA 6 faces another delay, NetEase shuts down one of its Western studios, and Sony deepens its Marvel partnership with some huge exclusivity moves. Let's dive in. Let's start with the headline that dominated the week. Rockstar Games. After months of hype around Grand Theft Auto 6, Take-Two Interactive officially confirmed that the game has been delayed again, now targeting November 19th, 2026. Take-Two says the extra time is to ensure the highest level of polish, but investors weren't thrilled. The company's stock dipped right after the announcement, even though they raised their bookings outlook for the fiscal year. But the biggest story this week wasn't the delay, it was the layoffs. Multiple outlets, including The Guardian and The Verge, reported that Rockstar fired between 30 and 40 employees from its UK and Canadian offices. The company claims these firings were due to gross misconduct, specifically leaking confidential information on a public forum. However, the Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain is calling it something else: union busting. According to the union, the employees were part of a private Discord channel for organizing labor discussions, not leaking secrets. Rockstar, for their part, says the dismissals were in no way related to union activity, but the optics are bad, especially given Rockstar's history with crunch and workplace controversy. Former developers have already staged protests outside the company's London and Edinburgh offices, calling the move disgusting and retaliatory. And while we don't know yet whether the union will take legal action, this case could set a major precedent for labor rights in game development. So here's the big takeaway. Rockstar's trying to protest its IP, the union's trying to protect workers' rights, and the rest of the industry is watching closely. Because if these firings are proven retaliatory, it could open the door for the first major labor dispute of the next-gen AAA era. Next up, another studio closure, this time from NetEase. Their Canadian subsidiary, Bad Brain Game Studios, is officially shutting down this month. The team was reportedly working on a large-scale narrative adventure built in Unreal Engine 5, but sources say the project never secured a publishing partner. NetEase confirmed the closure, citing strategic restructuring. This is part of a broader trend. Even the biggest companies are pulling back on Western expansions and experimental projects. Between 2022 and 2025, tens of thousands of game dev roles have been cut worldwide, and many studios are now focusing on core franchises and known IPs instead of riskier new ideas. So while it's not a total surprise, it's another reminder that the industry's financial correction is still very much ongoing. Alright, let's switch gears to something more exciting: Sony's collaboration with Marvel Games. We already know how big Spider-Man 2 was for PlayStation 5. It set sales records, pulled in rare reviews, and proved that Insomniac and Marvel are a powerhouse duo. But it turns out this partnership runs much deeper. According to recent reports, Sony and Marvel have long-term plans for multiple projects, not just Wolverine. Here's the most intriguing part. Leaked internal documents suggest Sony has exclusive rights to X-Men games until 2035. If that's true, that would make PlayStation the home of every major X-Men title for the next decade. Marvel Games executives have even said they're proud to collaborate with Sony and Insomniac for many years to come. So expect this universe to expand, and fast. This also shows how Sony is evolving its platform strategy. While they still rely on PS5 exclusives, talk on Fighting Souls, including PC, marks a small but notable shift towards cross-platform reach, especially for big IPs like Marvel. Let's run through a few notable releases and how they've been received this season. The Doom Dark Ages, launched back in May, continues to get strong praise for its brutal combat and smart level design. That said, there's a small controversy brewing. Physical discs for the game reportedly include only an installer, forcing players to download most of the content online. Meanwhile, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond looks promising in previews, especially with the new Switch 2 hardware expected next year. is one of the most anticipated Nintendo titles heading into 2026. And across the board, critics say 2025 has been one of the strongest years in recent memory for AA and indie projects. Plenty of smaller studios are punching way above their weight in both creativity and polish. The latest entry in the vault-haunting franchise, Borderlands 4, opened with impressive momentum. According to SteamDB, the PC version peaked at over 200,000 concurrent players shortly after launch, the highest in the series to date. Publisher 2K Games and developer Gearbox Software aimed for around 6 million copies sold at launch, with the broader goals of surpassing the franchise's 100 million unit lifetime milestone. Analyst firm Circana reports that in the US, the game was the best-selling title of September 2025, outpacing even major sports games and becoming the fastest-selling entry in the series so far. That said, there are caveats. The PC version's mixed Steam user rating due to performance issues and simultaneous delay of the Switch 2 version suggest while the launch is strong, sustaining that momentum will depend on post-launch support. The new trailer introduces Update 7 titled Wake of Water, which marks the most ambitious expansion yet for the survival RPG. It showcases a brand new biome, located between the Blackmire and Albany summits, featuring lakes, underwater ruins, tropical forests, and a fresh enemy type. The major headline feature is the addition of dynamically simulated water. You can swim and dive, explore underwater, players can build with water. New gameplay mechanics center on aquatic environments and how they interact with the world. Also included, fishing and crafting tied to water systems, a raised level cap with new weapons and gear, many balancing and quality of life improvements like better drop rates for legendary items. In short, the trailer positions Wake of Water as a major leap forward for Enshrouded. New terrain, new systems, and deep mechanics for both exploration and base creation. If you play Enshrouded, this update looks like a big one. So where does it all leave the industry? It's a mixed picture as always. On one hand, creativity and tech innovation are peaking. On the other, we're still seeing widespread layoffs, consolidation, and cautious spending. Take-Two and Sony both show that even major publishers are prioritizing quality and risk control over volume. And controversies like Rockstar's remind us that the human side of game development, the people, still define everything we play. As we head toward 2026, expect more delays, fewer experimental new IPs, but hopefully a more stable and sustainable industry. That's your industry roundup for this week's DevPulse. If you found this useful, give it a like, drop your thoughts in the comments, especially on the Rockstar situation, and don't forget to subscribe for next week's update. Until then,